So right here we have the book Black Brain, White Brain. Is Intelligence Skin Deep by Mr. Gavin Evans. Now I've been looking for this book for a few years, but it is not sold on Amazon or Thrift Books or many other platforms or even eBay. Most times and often it's stated that it's out of stock. But I do believe there's something profound in these books. Not just this author, but many other books about intelligence. Is it skin deep? Now here in the Western world, or what we perceive as quote unquote black culture, the so-called black man is praised in this society for his athletic prowesses. Now in the so-called black community, I do believe we are the only group that put so much emphasis on the athletic prowesses or the intellectual. Because oftentimes the so-called black youth or black men are ridiculed for their intelligence. It's one thing to be smart, but intelligence is a whole nother factor. And oftentimes through the media, being intelligent is demonized, or you're labeled a quote unquote coon if you work for the other side, but it is not praised upon in the so-called black community. We also have to take in consideration a lot of the concepts and themes such as white supremacy or reparations. Okay, it's like a hamster on a wheel. A lot of these activists, the first three letters is ACT. And when we come to the realization that we all did not come from slave ships, then we can get a better grasp of real history. But if they really wanted to delve into the history books or into the origins of reparations, then they're going to start labeling what type of so-called black are you? Are you Aboriginal black? Are you so-called black European? Are you black African? These are terms that they're going to start implementing when they talk about reparations, if it's based on real, true historical history. Now we're at the etymology of the word intelligence, and it states the late 14th century, the highest faculty of the mind, capacity for comprehending general truths. 14th century, faculty of understanding, comprehension, from Old French intelligence, 12th century, and directly from Latin intelligenta, understanding, knowledge, power of discerning. Now the emphasis on the word discerning. Now we know based in the Hebrewic scriptures, which is law, history, and prophecy, discerning is oftentimes than not equivalent to what? The Holy Spirit, or in Hebrew, the Ruach HaKodesh. Okay, the Most High gives his people the Holy Spirit to know truth from falsehoods or, many different delusions that are on this earth to the angels on the left-hand side, which are meant to deceive the other nations. It also states art, skill, taste from intelligentum, normative, intelligens, discerning, appreciative, present participle of intelliger, to understand, comprehend, come to know, from a simulated form of enter between, see enter, legere, choose, pick out, read, to collect and gather, with derivatives meaning to speak, to pick out words. Now, if you're in the knowledge or however many years you've been in this quote unquote truth, you should understand that there are general truths to this knowledge. Now, I'm not going to say it's the absolute truth because there are many truths out there, okay? But we know one thing is certain, that the sky is blue and the grass is green. So right here it states general truths can be facts, preferences, descriptions, or general states that are generally true in the past, present, and future. Some examples of general truths include, I like pizza, the sun rises in the east, the hospital admits patients whether or not they have proof of insurance, the sky is blue, and cats are wonderful. Okay? In English, the simple present tense is used to describe general truths. Now, the general truth is that the Israelites are a Negroid people. But oftentimes in this society, like I've stated before, they only focus on our athletic prowess. The Most High gives us intelligent wisdom and knowledge. When this society is all done or in wraps, what will be remembered by? Do you remember the ancient runners from Kemet, from Greece, from Rome, etc. You do not, okay? In all essence, they're trying to forget us in history, or they want to forget us or write us out of our own history. Well, they already have. But when the society is all done and wrapped up, what will we be remembered by? Now, this is hypothetical, but if the society continues for another 1,000 years, which I don't believe, what will some of the prominent so-called black athletes or historical figures, how would they be depicted? Will they be black, so-called black, or will they change into a Caucasian flavor of the month? See, these are concepts and themes that have actually happened in the ancient world. And like I stated in another video, Alexander the Macedon, or Edomite, or who they call the Great, he commissioned this, where they changed the depictions and a lot of the historical deities to a different persuasion or complexion or lack thereof. So now we're going to delve into this book. It's called Psychology, A Complete Introduction. So now we're on page 130, Intelligence and Culture. Researchers have long debated whether average differences in IQ scores, such as those between different ethnic groups, reflect differences in intelligence, social and economic factors, or both. The debate intensified in 1994 with the publication of The Bell Curve. The book's title comes from the bell-shaped normal distribution of intelligence quotient scores in population described above by Richard Herrnstein. Sounds like a Jewish surname. Reading on, in Charles Murray, which suggested that the lower than average IQ scores of some ethnic groups, such as African Americans and Hispanics, were due in large part of genetic differences between them and the Caucasian groups. Interesting. And not to digress too much from the topic, but this is why these people write these certain books about us, because they do believe that they are superior to us. But when our people come to the realization or come back to the knowledge of who they are historically and biblically, then it becomes an issue, and then we're the racist ones. But they write books about intelligence and all their contributions to society. But our history is often whited out or not written in the books. Our inventions, our ideas are stolen and given to another quote unquote race or group of people. And this is what they've done throughout history. Now we're going to be delving into this movie called Fresh. I'm not going to review the whole movie per se, but this movie is about a young boy who uses his intellectual prowesses more than his physical prowesses. Why? Because he's a child. But, one thing has to come into mind, that under certain, circumstances, the so-called black man, whether his environment is, stable or unstable, intelligence will always be found. It's like the game of chess that Chronicles said, or what the movie X-Men said, let the pawns go first. So he has to use his intellectual prowess and his sister as the pawn, which is the queen, to overcome the circumstances of his situation.
You're hoarding. You're playing each piece like losing it hurts. This ain't checkers. You want my king. You got to come get my king. All these other pieces are just a means to do it.
And at the end of the day, we have to remember that this is a game of chess. This is not our rest. This is not our kingdom or our heaven. We can get at the neck with all the information that's presented to us in the age of information. But when it comes down to the very end, who's going to be the end all be all, and who's going to conquer the head? That is going to be the Most High, or the Christ. And we will only get at the neck because we cannot handle the head. That's why when you read the scriptures, it tells you what's going to happen in the end. It's already been written. We're just a page in a book trying to see that page turn. And not to digress too much, but when you look at this political race, Biden stepping down because of his old age, and now Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is a pawn. This is a game of chess, not checkers. And once our people come to the grasp or understand that this is not a country, this is a corporation. Black is a byword. It is not a race. It is not a country or continent. It's a straw man term. And once we grasp reality that the president is just a president that runs a corporation, then we start to see things a little bit clearer. But to the elite bankers or the Caucasian Jews, the ones that run this society, along with many other different factions or whatnot. As Samuel L. Jackson stated, and this is no slight at the woman, but the woman is just a pawn. In the grand scheme of things, yes, the woman is used as a pawn for political or different ideologies or different factions or whatnot. And this is the game of chess, right? The woman is empowered, especially here in the Americas, to believe that she can liberate her race or quote unquote her people, more specifically black women, into prosperity or into liberation. But no woman will be the head or lead so-called black people into liberation or to glory. Only men can do that. So right here, the etymology of words, we have the word pawn. It states lowly chess piece, a piece of the lowest rank and value in chess, late 14th century. Pound, from Anglo-French, pawn, Old French, pion, earlier peon. A foot soldier, a pawn at chess, from medieval Latin, pedium, foot soldier, from late Latin, penitum, nominative pedo, one going on foot, from Latin pres, genitive pedis, foot, from pi, root, ped, foot. The chess sense was in Old French by 13th century, figurative use of persons is by 1580s, but Middle English had rook and pawn, high and low persons, thus everyone.
Every time you make a good run at me, I just threaten your queen and back you go. You're treating her like she's the last lady on earth. Your queen is just a pawn with a lot of fancy moves, nothing more. Message! When you see you playing a man who feels naked without his lady, use her. Jump in there and take her. Tease her, threaten her, and he won't be able to think about his game anymore. That's when you make your real move.